Whenever I'm in bed, I still remember that night. The moon was dark and I saw him cry as he slipped away into the shadows, leaving behind a blood-stained petal on the dusty path. That was the night my life changed forever. I was born in a small village which was simple. We lived in small huts made of clay and thatch, and we worked hard every day. My family was poor, but we had each other. My mother cooked on a small fire, my father worked in the fields, and my grandmother, Iya Agba, kept the old stories alive. From a young age, I learned that our life was not easy. Yet every sunrise brought a promise of a new day. I would sit by the river and listen to Iya Agba tell tales of brave hearts and deep love. She said, "Love is the strongest thing in the world, Amina. Even when the night is long, it can bring us the light." Those words stayed with me even when I was too young to understand their true weight. As I grew, I dreamed of one day finding a love that would lift my heart. I hoped for a love that would make even the hardest days seem bright. I did not know then that my dream would soon become real. I was 16 when I first met Tunde. It was the rainy season and our village well was filled with laughter and chatter. I was drawing water one hot afternoon when I dropped my clay pot. It shattered on the stone ground and I felt my cheeks burn with embarrassment. Then I saw him, a young man with kind, deep eyes and a smile that made my heart beat faster. Sunday knelt beside me and gently helped pick up the broken pieces. "Do not worry, Hamina," he said softly. "A broken pot can be mended, and so can a broken heart." I looked up surprised at the kindness in his voice. After that day, we began to see each other more often. We met by the river under the wide branches of the ancient Iroko tree, and even along the dusty paths near the field. We talked about simple things, our dreams, our work, the old stories Iyagba told us, and I soon found that every moment with him felt like a small gift. Tunde was gentle and kind, yet sometimes I noticed a faraway look in his eyes, a deep sadness he did not speak of. He would stare into the dark sky at night as if he were searching for something lost long ago. I once asked him about it, but he only said, "The past has a way of following us. I hope one day I can leave it behind." I did not know then how true his words would prove to be. Our love grew slowly, like the green shoots that push through cracked earth after the first rain. We spent our afternoons walking together, sometimes with our hands brushing in the dust, sometimes sharing quiet smiles. I came to cherish every small moment, the way he laughed, the care in his eyes, and even the unspoken words that passed between us. One bright afternoon, we sat by the river, the water moved gently and the air was cool. Tunde took my hand in his fingers warm and steady. "Amina," he said, "with you, I feel I can face the world. You make my heart strong even when I am weak." I looked into his eyes and felt that familiar warmth fill me. I knew then that I loved him. In that moment, nothing else mattered. Our work, our worries, even the hard life of the village. All that mattered was the hope and promise of our love. But I also knew that our love, however bright, would have to stand against many storms. In our village, old ways and heavy expectations often weighed on our hearts. Love was not always free, and the past sometimes reached out to remind us of our old wrongs. Yet, in our secret moments, our love was as free as the wind that swept over the plains. Then came a night that I will never forget. I woke in the dark with a strange feeling in my chest, a mix of fear and sorrow. I got up quietly and followed the soft sound of crying. I walked out to the edge of the village near the old Iroko tree where Tunde and I had met many times. There, in the dim light of a sky with no moon, I saw him sitting alone on a large stone. His head was bowed and his shoulders shook with quiet tears. The sight was unsettling. His eyes, usually so kind, were filled with a deep unspoken pain. I rushed to him calling softly, "Tunde, what is wrong?" He did not turn to me at first. He only murmured, "I cannot say, Amina. The past is here. It has come to claim me." Before I could hold him, he stood up abruptly and walked away into the shadows. I ran after him calling his name, but he vanished into the dark. When I reached the spot where he had been, I saw something that froze my heart. A single petal lay on the ground, stained with what looked like blood. I picked it up slowly, wondering what it meant. That night, I lay awake for hours, haunted by the image of his tearful face and the dark petal. I could not shake the feeling that something in his past was coming back to hurt him and maybe even me.